Hi everyone, it's G.I. Gary from Pint Comics today, reviewing a book. It's the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, A Traveler's Guide to Batuu, an in-universe guide. This book, brought to us by the fine folks at Quarto. Thank you, Steve Roth, for sending it over to us to review. And I'll take a quick peek at this and tell you what this is all about. So, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, if you haven't heard, is the themed land inside Disney World and Disneyland, where you go into Star Wars at the amusement park. Now you have a book here, and what are you going to get out of the book that you wouldn't get going to the amusement parks? The first thing is this an in-universe guide? So you might be thinking, well, an in-universe guide, is this like a Star Wars source book? And I would say yes. So you have in this book, you have the location of Batuu, the planet where Black Spire Outpost is on, and you also learn about the inhabitants, the drinks, everything that you can find at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is in this book, and then some. So some part of this book is you're going to get facts and details that you may not get just by walking into the parks. So this book is an enhancement of the theme park experience. Start out with, when I first opened the book and I first looked at it, my first knee-jerk reaction was, why does a book like this exist? So this is a book that is about a theme park experience, but it's also Star Wars. So Star Wars obviously has a ton of novels and books, source books for you to glean information of as, let's say, you were building a role-playing campaign or just generally curious about the places that the characters may or may not visit. And this book does add to that lore, add to that legend. So even if you're not going to go to Disney World or Disneyland, you can get that kind of experience through this book, knowing what you're going to do. However, it is not a replacement for that experience. It is an enhancement for the theme park experience, but also it is a different kind of experience if you take it out of the theme park context. As a traveler to Galaxy's Edge myself, and as a dad of a little one, you don't really get to spend as much time looking at the stuff. So what this book does for somebody that's been to Galaxy's Edge is, if you're looking through your photos, or if your child perhaps has questions about what's going on, or even if you have questions about what you saw at Galaxy's Edge, this book can explain it. This book covers some basic fundamentals of Star Wars, as well as a little more specific to Galaxy's Edge. So you're going to see stuff where they explain the Force, what a lightsaber is, what a droid is, because those are, building a lightsaber and building a droid are part of the theme park experience. So that stuff is kind of on the basic side, but then you find some other detailed sides that are specific to the Galaxy's Edge experience, where you will see, concept pictures of like the spaceport. You will see docking bay number 9. Also, like Oga's Cantina. So these are things that you're going to get a little more information on, a little more lore on through this book that you're not going to get through going just strictly through the theme park. Typical of Disney theme parks is there's always a ton of detail to take in. But, like I said, in a theme park setting, there's a lot of people, so you get a little bit of information overload or just not being able to focus on what you really want to do there. And this book can flesh that out. Another thing that's a criticism of the book, as well as kind of a little bit of a praise, is that the book does try to be all things to all people. So rather than offering multiple books, one for people that are novice to Star Wars, or people versus people that are experts at Star Wars, the book tries to find that fine line where they are allowing a novice to get in, and they have that information in there, but also not putting that much stuff about the Force or droids or stuff that it turns off a more experienced Star Wars fan. So the book has to walk a fine line, and that is something that some, I would say, experienced fans may find hard to get past. They're like, well, I know what the Force is and I know what a lightsaber is, but I can see an experienced fan being a little negative towards that aspect. But the book is welcoming enough for a new fan that I do not see a new fan or a child or something there's a lot in there for them to get out, and this would be almost like an entry-level source book for them that would lead them on to other books. The other criticism is there are some photoshopped images in there, and with the photoshops, you know, like there's a scene from Black Spire Outpost, and it's hard when you look at it, especially as myself as an adult, you know, you have the suspension of disbelief, and you're looking at the suspension of disbelief with your eyes, so your lens, you know, especially as an adult, is much sharper, I would say, than as somebody with a more vivid imagination like a child. So your suspension of disbelief as an adult, it's like, for me, it was a little bit hard until I realized what they were really trying to do. And then I was like, oh, I get it now. And I appreciate it more now that I took time, you know, because I took the time to think about it for this review. But I could see it being a little off-putting, again, for like an adult / experienced, you know, fan of Star Wars. So the book retails for $19.99. It is available at most places you buy books, you know, Amazon and, you know, other online retailers. Overall, as somebody who's been to Galaxy's Edge, I'm glad I have this, because again, like when my son asked me, oh, when we're going to Disneyland, what can we do? Maybe he'll get into Star Wars and be like, oh, what are we going to do? You know, I have this book, be like, hey, do you like this? Do you like that? Do you really want to do, you know, go on the Millennium Falcon, you know, or do you want to go to Oga's Cantina and have drinks? And no alcohol for you because you're still under 10 years old. So there's stuff like that from this book. The other thing I would like to mention also is because Galaxy's Edge was designed several years ago. They designed it to happen during the Disney sequel trilogy. You're not going to find too much there in like the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy. It's designed as something from the sequel trilogy. As such, you know, they try to change themes as much as possible, you know, especially with merchandising and stuff that can affect it, like with the immense popularity of The Mandalorian. So while they, you know, did design it as something similar to like Tatooine, you know, a little rocky, a little deserty, they're able to change it. They can change it as needed depending on what Star Wars property they are looking to market. But the book does heavily center around that sequel trilogy era as you look into it for information. Again, it's the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Traveler's Guide to Batuu, In-Universe Guide. Again, it's $19.99, available at everywhere that you find fine Quarto books. Thank you to Steve Roth for sending us this book for review. I appreciate it. It is a fine book. If you want a book like this, absolutely. If you have a differing opinion, that's fine. Leave it below. Comment below. Like this video if you like Star Wars. Dislike this video if you think Star Wars is something and why did you get this far in the video. I'm G.I. Gary, and this is Pint Comics. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video. And don't forget to follow Pint Comics on Facebook and Twitter at PintOComics. Instagram is at Pint_O_comics. And don't forget pintofcomics.com, where you can find more articles and reviews. And also WESUFM.org, where on Sunday nights at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, you can have Sir John interviewing and reviewing and doing all sorts of stuff on the radio, available for streaming 2 weeks after the original broadcast. So, G.I. Gary, and with that, see ya.